So let's start this journey by explaining what I did. In order to kind of understand how geographers perceived science, I asked my classmates to play a little riddle game called a portrait chinois, with different questions based on the model if science was. Mm-mm-mm. So my purpose is to see what is science to non scientists and what is science in a non scientific way. To take a quick example and to start the presentation, if science was an animal, what would it be? Well, for my classmates, it will be rather classical animals, let's say, animals that are like linked to intelligence, like octopuses, or that are viewed as close to mankind, humankind, like monkeys, or close to human societies, like ants, for example. Then, if science was a person, well, for my classmates, it will be a scientist, more often than not. And remarkably, for one of them, it would be our head teacher, Luc Merchez, which is quite surprising, honestly. I did not expect that at all, but it was nice to add a little like someone I knew, let's say. Then, if science was a feeling, well, for us geographers, it would be appeasement, satisfaction, calmness, confidence, surprise, relief, curiosity, very positive feelings, let's say. Uh, so we tend to see science in a positive light. If science was a period of time now, well, if we take the historical approach, it's ancient Greece, the Renaissance, the contemporary era. So basically, every period of time is a scientific period of time. If we take a more symbolic view, then it's winter or night, rather cold period of time that are not necessarily well viewed in society, but I do not think it's like I do not think their meaning or their symbolism is negative here. Then, if science was a piece of art, it will be, and well, for my classmates, visibly, the best pieces of art for science are pieces of art that represent science, like the anatomy lesson or the book The Brave New World. There are some interesting specimens, let's say, that choose international climb blue or the persistence of memory. So things that are again a bit more symbolic, personal, that we will have to explain a bit more. I do like those answers though. Then if science was a scent, it will be, and then we have two approaches. The one that took the laboratory part of science and chose chemical scents, steel, gasoline, and the one who took the natural part of science and chose cutting grass, earth after rain, and scents. I do like seeing this duality here. And then, because we are geographers and we love countries, if science was a country, and it is quite, well, let's say that we do not have a lot of choices, a lot of answers there. Eastern countries, of course, that was expected, but quite a few of, like, so few of them. I would have expected maybe China too, or Italy, even Poland with Marie Curie, or Russia, I don't know. But we are quite limited here. And then, last but not least, if science was an invention, what would it be? And my classmates, well, they chose AI, plane, the steam machine, the ESS, astronomical telescope, electrical lightning. Basically, most of them are things that we experiment in our everyday life, that we do not necessarily understand, but that we are familiar with, or things that represent a more dreamy aspect of science, like space exploration or even flying. Uh, I don't know if there is a strong duality here, or I don't know if it was a conscious duality, but I like this little thing between dreamy science and everyday life science. And up, this is technically the end of my presentation. And know how geographers perceived science in the non scientific part of it.